Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast. We are finally getting to discuss the season of Three Body Problem, the new sci-fi show from Netflix. I am joined with my esteemed guest, Chairman TMT. He joined me on
So,
the preview episode, and he's come back again to discuss the season as a whole. A reader of the
uh,
first book in the trilogy. TMT, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling like I don't know. I feel like facing the wall. I feel like a wall,
A wall
like
facer.
a wall facer. Yeah.
Oh,
Um, I,
that was such a hard nickname. A wall facer. I
a
like it.
wall facer. I love it. Yeah.
But in another universe, it could stand for someone who is a masochist and likes to be punished.
That's
But
true. That's true.
they have different definitions of wall facer.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, for me, facing the wall is just like someone that really likes watching paint dry,
Uh,
and like someone who doesn't get bored easily. Someone that can do something so mundane that the what are those aliens called? Scythians? Saphions?
Santi.
Santi, yeah. Rapid
Yeah.
fire guys. Yeah. Yeah. But,
Just, that's what I'm calling them now. The rapid fire guys.
yeah. But yeah, someone that is so boring that those guys can't analyze all the interactions. They're just like fuck this shit, let's move on. If we die, we die.
I can't stay watching this guy. He's too boring.
Exactly. That's why they pick Saul.
So
I like
Saul.
Saul.
First, I love Saul. Saul was the first character I gravitated towards, not just because he's a black man, but because he's a man who feels like his great achievement has passed him by. But
I think I like Saul because he's like he's the only scientist in the show who has like the perfect mind for like
this kind of shit.
yeah like on applied like theoretical and applied physics, but
Yeah,
he doesn't have a passion for physics, so he's just constantly never applying himself and he's always bored. So like there's a scene where they ask like they're trying to figure something out and they ask Saul a question and Saul gives the most mundane answer. And Salazar prompts him, and she's just like, "Can you just think about it?" And he just starts to think about it, and he works it out. Cause like, because I think everyone else, like, for instance, what's his name? Will.
yeah.
All right. Will likes to. Will is very curious, and he likes to think about things and play with ideas. But he's noted, and I don't know if it's true, but it's what he says is true. He's noted that he's not as smart as the rest of them, so he
Yeah.
never really made it in physics. But he's always like he always has like fun questions and things to ask and everything. So he's very much the polar opposite of Saul in that sense, where like Saul doesn't ask any questions. He's just like, leave me alone. I don't care about. I just want to smoke some weed and sleep with women and pretend not to remember their names.
That's my favorite genre of person, to be honest. Someone who's just naturally talented at something and they either hate it or they don't care too much about it. It's like, oh God, why have you given me this unnatural talent for physics? I wish I could be
Mm,
doing anything else. But yeah,
mm,
I would like to officially open this episode with an apology, two apologies. One, I believe we botched, or let me not spread responsibility. I botched the explanation of the three body problem last week. Slight
mm,
correction. The reason why the three body problem between the Earth, the Sun, and the Moon can be simplified to a two body problem because the Moon is of negligible mass and it is small, too small compared to the Earth and the Sun to exert any force on both of them. So that is why we are stable. But in doing
mm,
further research into the three body problem, the whole point of it is our universe, the solar system, is very much more unstable than we think it is. Basically, scientists ran experiments of the entire solar system and found out if you move Mercury even 1 millimeter closer to the sun, in 1% of simulations, everything crashes into each other, destroys, blah blah blah.
Like
So
the
yeah,
Earth too.
yeah, everything in the solar system goes into a state of destruction. But that's in
That's
only one
crazy.
percent of simulations. It's not in most simulations. It's stable, but there's but 1 millimeter is enough to fuck us up in 1% of
Yeah, man.
simulations.
I mean, look at how it ended up for dinosaurs, right? That's probably like some,
Exactly. Who knows
yeah,
what happened there? Something
yeah,
probably entered. And truthfully, that is one of the ways the N body problem could fuck us up. If a random star travels into our galaxy and is big enough to start interacting with
mm.
the sun, we're cooked.
Just pulling, just gravitational terrorism, basically.
Yeah, man. And then the second apology, we had a bit of mix up between Chinese, Cantonese, and Mandarin. And I've gone to educate myself and I've discovered that Chinese is not actually a language, right?
Yeah, it's
So,
not.
boo, boo to me.
Ooh.
The languages
Well,
are Mandarin and
and
Cantonese.
Cantonese, yeah.
Yes.
But
So,
I didn't say that. I just said Chinese and Mandarin.
no, I don't know what you said. I know the difference.
Oh, yeah. Whenever
Yeah,
something is in Mandarin, I just immediately assume it's Cantonese, and
fair.
yeah. I mean,
So,
they don't speak
apologies.
Nigerian either, so that's a big
True.
one.
True. I've had to clarify to many of people that Nigerian is in its own language, but you know, we keep fighting, we keep struggling. One day there'll be true global knowledge.
See,
Now,
I don't do that because I tell people there's a language called Nigerian just because I'm embarrassed about colonialism. You know,
I
it's like,
see. I
yeah,
actually like
like
that.
yeah, it's like
Hmm.
I wouldn't admit I was bullied in school. I wasn't, but like if I was, I wouldn't admit it because it's embarrassing a little bit. Even though you didn't do anything wrong, you're the victim, but like still,
Yeah, I
yeah.
see.
So I
You
would
know,
want people to believe there's a language.
I think if Nigeria was more homogeneous, we would have come up with a language at some point. It's just like right
Yeah.
now, it's impossible,
I
and it's
don't
always
think
been
any
impossible.
African country has a language ascribed to it as a nation. Like, there's no
Why
Ghanaian,
do you
there's
think? Why do you
no
think that is,
Angolan.
TMT?
If I had to say, just vibes, just bad vibes. Yeah,
I believe there was this thing that happened for like 400 years between mainland
right.
Europe and
Yeah.
Africa, where they
Okay.
basically divided us up
Mm-hmm.
vibes according to
Right.
vibes, and
Hey,
there's
what?
no
But and then watching Shogun right now, it makes you wonder, like, countries like Japan and everything. I guess also Japan is so small. I mean, there are multiple languages in Japan, also in fairness. Like Japan is so small that like they could probably maintain one homogeneous type of language situation. Anyway, we're
yeah.
deviating. Yeah, it's three body
Yes,
problem, not
fuck
three language problem.
colonization. Back to three body power. Interesting. Yes, yes. So, do you want to start somewhere, or do you want to know where I want to start? TNT.
Where do you want to start?
So, watching this show, like a lot of things happened, and there was an amazing arc with what's the name of the who do you think is the main character of the show? Actually, that's a really good question I want to ask. At least, like you've read the book, so you might have a cheat code to this. But with the way the show is presented to us, who do you think the main character is?
Well, I think the show and I think the way the books and even the show, they're both constructed. It's to set up multiple main characters in the sense where like this season or this half of the season, this is the main character, and this half of the season or this whole season, this is the main character. Like definitely like pre-time skip years like undisputed main character,
Yeah.
and post time skip it starts with Salazar in narrative wise. I just thought she was the main character.
Hmm.
Um, occasional glimpses of what's her name? Um,
Jin.
Jin has a lot of
Yeah.
main character vibes. Yeah, so I would say somewhere between Salazar and Jin, and then Saul is kind of like third
Yeah.
because he's just kind of a really strong supporting character. Then towards the end of the show, he kind of has to be a main character. By season two, he's definitely a main character, and I think Saul wanted to be a supporting character himself. Like he's just very anti-stepping up, and now he's been forced to step up.
You know, when pre-time skip, yeah, I agree with you. Ye was the main character. But even
Mm,
post-time skip, something still kept telling me that Ye was the main character. And when she eventually like turned on the
mhm.
Santi and realized like the error of her ways, I thought, okay, like she's going to be at the forefront of the fight against the Santi or humanity's efforts. And sorry to everyone who's listened so far. If you listen so far, spoiler alert. Our darling Ye does not make it to the end of the season, or at least it's implied heavily that she does not make it to the end of the
Mm.
season. So yeah, I thought she would be the main character. I still think the things she has done, or she has probably put something into place that will save them, save humanity, or prove useful against the Santi.
So like
But
just
yeah,
like just like the real life, yeah.
what you say in real life, Ye?
You know, that was a
Oh,
joke I wanted to make desperately in the preview episode. I don't know if I made it,
no,
but
you didn't.
it was basically like, oh, this isn't the first time someone called Ye is being persecuted because of their beliefs.
Oh God. Yes, it seems to be a yay
Yeah.
problem. But speaking of yay, while I watch when I watch this show like for the first time, and sorry to the viewers, two things stuck out to me. I watched the show, you know, my brain was maybe off, so I didn't clock these things the first time. But while thinking about the show more, I started thinking about them a little bit more. In the end, when Saul says he doesn't want to be a wall facer, right? And that he's not a wall facer, but they never leave him alone. It took me like halfway through, I think until he got shot. That's when I clocked that it is not that these guys are just being weirdly persistent. They just think he's playing along with the whole, what do you call it, with the whole misleading the Santi thing. They think,
Hmm.
oh, like this guy, he's a warfare. He's just saying it so that the Santi stop watching him or stop looking at him. And it was only until he got assassinated that I was like, oh crap, that's why they're still following him around because they think this guy is just yanning balls basically.
Yeah, like everyone around him is like, he's like, I'm not a wall facer, and everyone, his chief of staff is like, yeah, sure you're not. Uh-huh. So what would you like me to do, Mr. Wolf? Sorry, not Wolf, sir. Like, how can we help you today?
How can we help you? Please, we're at your beck and call, random black citizen. And
Yeah.
then the second thing that I thought about more and more was that conversation that Ye has with Saul on the bench, right? The first time I watched it, nothing. And then I started thinking when, like I said, I was having the thoughts of Ye being the main character and her doing
Hmm.
something useful. I started thinking the conversation she has with Saul. The first time I watched it as well, I was like, that's a bit of a weird joke, right? And then it seemed like it was a metaphor for her life and like the things she did to invite the Santi and
Hmm.
all of that. If you go by it word for word, and then she says something where she's like, "Jokes are weird. We need them to survive, and sometimes they
Yeah.
only make sense to two people." So
Hmm.
that's like a little sounds like a little Easter egg there for future seasons or for
Yeah.
a
I mean,
plan that Saul will come up with.
I immediately understood because I'm a fucking genius. But like, I think what she was trying to say is that like, um, the Santi don't understand humor because they don't understand lying and they don't understand storytelling, and
Yeah,
you know, that's your way around all of this. The only problem is I don't know. Like I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, and they're slow to learn. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Um, but what I was thinking was that like these guys are only slow to learn because of their stable and unstable eras, so they're constantly being wiped out. But if you have a bunch of them in their ships without interference of stable and unstable errors, they're going to pick up on sarcasm
um,
and like
yeah,
metaphors and similes. And but at the same time, I mean, yeah, because they'll have enough time to just pick up on stuff. At the same time, there was a scene at the end, the scene where they go and talk to Wade in his plane. And I'm just like, I feel
Oh
like these
yeah.
guys are. I just felt like they are going to learn how to lie.
Okay, so it's good you brought up that scene because while watching that scene, I did think about something. I was like, lying is not so far removed from I don't know how to from teasing because they were giving them a little bit of the answer. She would answer back, and then they'll be like, "So
Hmm.
what do you think we're going to do?" And then they were like, "Oh crap, you guys are going to." So like lying is not too far off from it's
Being
not
coy.
too. Yeah, exactly. That's the word. It's not too far off of being coy like that. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a biological thing they can't lie, but if it's something they've just not evolved enough to do, they definitely will
Hmm.
find a way to lie
What
to deceive.
I also like the idea of like just there being one Santi that can lie, and it turns into the
An
film, the
evolved
invention
one.
of yeah, an evolved one, like the invention of lying with Ricky Gervais. I don't know if you've seen that film, but
I have
it's
seen that from a long time ago when I was a kid.
yeah,
Very fun.
it's brilliant, and it's that would be funny if there's just one Santi telling them about like everything about how like dope Earth is and how they have to conquer it and this. And he's just made himself the king of their species, basically. Um, but yeah. How did you feel about the application of the nanofibers?
Oh, that scene was phew. That scene was because I didn't see it coming at all. I was wondering what the fuck are these guys building, and then the ship's coming, and then the Navy guys like it's not working. Why isn't it working? And then everything starts
Oh,
happening. That scene
oh,
was tough, and apparently you can confirm. Apparently, the children are not in the books, or they didn't mention children. But there was children on that ship, and they showed them, and you know what happened to those children. And it was a very harrowing scene, and the slicing of
mm.
everyone. Didn't shy away from it. They showed it. It was chasing um, Mike Evans down the stairs. It was a very harrowing scene, and the
And
noise as well. Oh
I knew he wouldn't survive. There was just no way. He's an old fucking man, and like no one was going to survive that anyway. I was just like, oh, these guys are all dead. How do we make sense of this? Like, what is really going to happen? And I'm like, what? It was a very like D&D Red Wedding esque scene.
yeah, and it does show you one thing though that like there is technology that could or there is a potential for technology to get even sicker in the way we use it during warfare.
Oh
That
yeah,
scene
hundred
was just
percent.
very terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Invincible, very thin, slicing through everything, even metal.
It was awful. It was awful to watch. But it also feels like a painless. No, it's not a painless way to go. It's a very painful way to
No,
go.
no, no, please. It's very painful. No matter
Yeah.
where it slices you, it will
Oh,
be very painful.
so I'm going to write. Just can we move on? I know I brought it up, but let's just.
Okay.
Mm.
So, I feel like just one thing I would say. I was going to speak about Year One J. Yeah, that's Ye Wenjie, not Year One J.
Ye
Year One
Wenjie,
J.
yeah.
Year Wenjie. Did you feel empathy for her, like as when the way the show started and her journey, her character? Did you feel okay? I see where you're coming from. The world has failed you, so you did
Yeah, I
what you
mean,
had to do.
I 100% see it. I think um, she was also raised in a time where she didn't have a lot of advantages these guys have. And by advantages, I don't even mean like freedom, because who's really free in the end,
What?
you know? But no, I mean like just things like speculative sci-fi.
Okay.
Because I feel like you and I, like regardless of how hard things got, you and I probably wouldn't push that button because um
We've seen too many movies.
yeah, I would just know like any alien race that would pull up on us. Like, look, for
TMT, can
instance,
I ask you a question?
yeah, what's up?
I hope it's not sensitive. I hope it's not too sensitive.
Talk to me.
in what year of a Tinubu presidency would you would you would you press a button to to
Would it
call
would
DeSantis?
it be? Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be for another country, so we're going straight to the Santi. Nah, I
Oh,
still
oh,
wouldn't
oh.
do it.
Okay, let's do another country. You can pick your top three.
Yeah, no, I still wouldn't do it because I know people that say like, um, oh, I wish white people were still ruling. And I'm like, no, you fucking don't. Shut the fuck up. Like, so aliens would be worse because yeah,
Yeah, everyone.
yeah,
You, but yeah, that just goes to show you how devoid of hope she must have been. Which is interesting because, like, when I ask a question about like being empathetic from for her character, is like you start to think, did she push it out of like a lack of hope for the world, or did she push it out of pure curiosity? Because the way she comes
no, it
across is
wasn't
like
curiosity.
she
That
hates
was
this.
that was
Yeah,
hate. That was hate fuel. Absolutely
she
hate
comes across
fuel.
like she hated the world and she wanted everything to burn and start
Yeah,
again. And
yeah.
at some point, I look at her and think maybe she was just a girl who didn't quite think through the consequences of her actions.
Also, I don't think she really. I think she thought they would be conquered and she would
Yeah,
be given a place. Even though that alien warned her, like, see, we're not the ones.
yeah,
We are not the
bro.
ones.
Do you
Please
understand?
chill.
One of the saddest things in life is when the universe is like, "Are you sure you want to mess? You want to fumble like
Yeah,
this?" You're like,
yeah.
"Yeah, I will still go for it." It gave
No.
her a chance, and she said,
Sheesh.
"Eh, but speaking of Ye Wenjie, and I'm sorry, guys, I asked the question at the start. I think by now you can tell that I obviously think this lady is the main character of the story. But
Mm,
something that I thought was really good, and it's probably why the book got rave reviews, is that although it's a science fiction story and it's very heavy on the science, evidenced by me and TMT, I'm going to drag into my failure, messing up the explanation of the three body problem. It's heavy on the science, but the whole story happens because of a real world, very grounded event, very grounded thing that happens. And
mm-hmm,
it's the same thing with the writer. I think we mentioned it in the preview, where his family and him himself were impacted by the Cultural Revolution in China.
mm-hmm.
So it was very nice for the show to start. I think the first 10, 15 minutes has almost no science fiction, and it's just completely brutal and real and something that
Yeah,
actually happened on Earth. So I thought that was an interesting choice and a really good one, actually.
yeah, I feel you. I think it's also just like it's kind of like how GOT starts as well. Like, there's damn near no magic for the first season,
Yeah,
and then one day it's just
exactly.
fucking dragons. And you're like, and
It
I think the
starts
drag,
with a
I think,
very
yeah, I think the dragons show up at the last episode of season one.
yeah, like the baby dragon. Yeah,
The baby dragons, yeah. So you don't. It's not a fantasy show till that moment. And um, I didn't grow up reading Game of Thrones. I didn't know anything was coming. I was just wholeheartedly surprised. I'll never forget where I was when I was watching season one. So I was looking at this. I was interning at a law firm. I wasn't even done with uni yet. I was just watching this thing on my laptop through the summer, and I just see some dragons, and I'm like, oh, okay, what? And then I closed my computer. Still an enjoyable season, thoroughly. And I feel like we're back to that here. This is just like the sci-fi version of it.
yeah. So last thing about Ye Wenjie, I promise. And speaking about that conversation she had on the bench, right? So
Mm,
her saying, speaking about getting to heaven,
mm-hmm,
Einstein getting to heaven. If we say that's Ye herself, and then actually no, she said she wanted to play her what instrument with Einstein? Like his violin. Exactly,
mm-hmm,
his violin. And then God was a saxophonist. So I'm thinking at this point where she's telling the story that she thinks that she's referring to Chairman Mao as God and
mm-hmm,
science as the violin that Einstein likes to play. And he's like,
mm-hmm.
no, he's a saxophonist, right? And then actually no, am I getting this right? And she's never play
Um,
with God. No, actually I think the never play with God is never play with science. So Chairman Mao was like, you know, I want to do it this way. And then the scientists are like, we want to play a violin. And then Chairman Mao is like, kicks them in the balls or kicks her in the balls and is like, never play with God. And she
Mm.
doesn't know God being a Santi, whatever. It's a complicated thing that has an explanation that we'll get to in season two, hopefully. But that's enough about Ye Wenjie. Now, TMT.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I mean, just going back into it, I have a, I mean, what I think that joke meant, because I think Einstein wanting to play in heaven is pretty much like humanity wanting to enter, like, the greater universe and
Yeah,
make themselves known. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, play with them.
And play with them, yeah. And
Try to drink with the big boys.
yeah, and you remember when the um when the first Santi told her, guy, do not answer, do not
Yeah,
answer, this is the warning.
yeah,
I think that's the angel saying, don't
yeah.
fucking
Don't
play the
play.
violin. And then I don't know, maybe she's saying humanity is flawed, or that we've
Yeah, and then
revealed,
the God
yeah,
might be the Santi,
yeah,
coming to say never play with God.
yeah, because like the thing is, when God comes down and kicks Einstein in the balls,
Einstein in the balls.
and that's essentially humanity revealing their location to the Santis,
Yeah.
and obviously being killed in like the invasion, being wiped out to make space for this quote unquote greater race. It also makes, like, I think the final thing is that, like, a big part of understanding comedy
Mm-hmm.
is emotional intelligence and empathy and connection to other people. It's almost like you're able to grieve with someone and empathize with them by laughing at the situation, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the Santi not understanding jokes shows how truly ruthless these people are.
Interesting.
You get what I'm
Interesting.
saying?
But okay, so would you even say it's ruthless? Because while thinking about that conversation, both of them sitting on that bench, and obviously different cultures and everything. There is something that I've noticed while reading manga, watching anime, and all of that is that obviously there's some comedy that's cross cultural, but a lot
Hmm.
of comedy relies on you already being familiar with certain cultural norms. Like there's some things that
Hmm.
are funny in Japanese stand up that will
Yeah.
just are
Not
just
translate.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't understand it. There's some words that are written on paper and I just don't see why it's funny. But if you're familiar with the culture, I can assume
Mm.
it's funny. So yeah, maybe it's like you said, there's some intricacies in humanhood that we can use to deceive these people because they are very robot like.
Hmm. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. I wish they showed their full forms though. I wonder what they look like.
Oh yeah, I really do wonder what they look like. We might get that in season two because they keep telling us you wouldn't like what we look like, and I'm trying to think
Hmm.
of any show or movie where there's been an alien that said that and actually showed themselves and how shocked I was.
I think
I'm trying to
Martian
think
Manhunter is the one that comes to mind. Or
from
Miss Martian in Young Justice.
I'm trying to there's definitely been a reveal that had me saying, hmm, we'll leave it at that. Let's hope
Mm.
they're worth their talk. Let's hope they look like what they look like. Because I'll
Hmm.
be very angry if they have octopus tentacles. Because how do they solve science and build all these things with octopus tentacles?
Mm.
They can't be that ugly. I refuse to believe they're ugly.
Yeah, that makes
Are
sense.
there are there any? Because apparently it's a trilogy, right? And there's some bits of book two already in season one. So
Yeah.
it's possible that they finish it in season two, or they finish it. Yeah, because if there's, or maybe they go three seasons. But everyone says season 2 and 3 or books 2 and 3 are where shit gets real. And
Mm,
a part of me is thinking, how much realer can shit get, bro? How much realer can shit? What are we going to see from these guys in season 2 and 3? Because do you believe there's going to be a time skip, and how big a time skip are you expecting? Like if you're a gambling man, over or under 100 years?
um, I don't think we're going to get any big time skips till like I think the earlier seasons is where the fun is. I said earlier, I think pre-time skip is where the fun is at. I think there's a lot of space to play there in terms of just like
Okay,
developing ways to counter these guys before they show up. I think a time skip shouldn't happen till maybe the third or fourth season. You know,
let's
let's
see.
let's yeah, I don't want the Santi to get here too quickly. I want to see what happens with humanity, especially like when governments combine to like fight this threat, and all the strange little cults that form and how it just really affects the world, because we haven't really seen that. We've seen glimpses of it. We've seen people staging protests saying we are not bugs, which is fucking hilarious, by the way. Like, and alien is like, yeah, bug, and you're like, no, 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 I'm not. I'm not a bug. Yeah, I think that's very human and hilarious. Um, but yeah, 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 yeah.
the
I,
most the most unrealistic parts of this science fiction show has aliens and light speed travel and freezing of brains and freezing of monkeys. The most unrealistic part of this show is the world governments coming together
I
for
think
any
it's,
reason. So
I think it's realistic because I've always said that the only thing that can really unite humanity is having an
yeah.
outside force to fight against. It's literally the only thing.
Okay, so
Like,
TMT,
yeah.
so unless you don't count global warming as an outside force,
No, that's an
because
outside force.
okay, that doesn't count.
Yeah,
Even though it's going to kill us all.
yeah, no, that's us. That's us. Like, global warming has already been too politicized. But actually, you know what?
Okay.
I think you're right in this about like this not being able to unite us, because there are already people forming cults about the aliens being their lords and saviors. So,
You
like
see?
yeah, they'll politicize that one as well. Well, people are insane.
I think humans have a need to worship someone. And you see it everywhere. Obviously religion is great, but with the
Mhm.
fall of religion has come the rise of stands and mad people. So I think we're just destined to worship something, I guess.
Shout out to
Something.
Barb's.
I did not say anything. I did not say anything.
He won a race
I'm
with
going
China. Sorry.
I'm going to bleep that out.
Shout out the Barbs, man. I'm one of you. I'm not. I'm just kidding. You guys suck. Um, but yeah, 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 yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
How did
How
you
do you
feel
feel
about the
about?
friendship dynamic? Oh, sorry, you go.
Oh, I was good. Well, I mean, it's a good segue both either way, because I was going to ask you about Will's arc. Well, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, Will was an interesting character because you could almost sort of see it coming. Because if you read anything or watched anything, and with all the talk about him not meeting up to his potential and all of that, and even removing the fact that he's sick, but you could see that if anyone was going to have a really important role in this, it would be him. But weirdly enough,
Mm,
the plan failed. I'm not. Do you know how surprised I was that the plan failed? I don't know why, but I thought we weren't in that kind of story. I was very. I was like, oh crap, it's happening. They actually did this, and then the show is silent for like the next 5 minutes to let it
yeah,
sink into you that that just happened.
yeah, it was fucking
But yeah,
crazy, man. Because I wasn't
no,
surprised that it failed. It was always it was a long shot, no matter how you slice it.
yeah. Oh, it was
Yeah,
insane, man. It was a really insane chance, a really insane plan. It was just, and the crazy thing is they couldn't test run it. They just had to go
yeah.
with the first try. Oh God,
It's too expensive to test for, essentially.
poor guy. And they didn't even have all the nuclear weapons that we have on Earth. So we're even more
Yeah.
cooked because we've wasted nuclear weapons to try this. And when they come, we have nothing to fight these guys with.
Hey man. Hey man.
But yeah,
No, I mean, in the next 400 years, would have developed something.
So yeah, so obviously that's what the Santi said. They're also scared about that. And when she said it, that's when I actually realized as well that 400 years is a long, long time. We love war way too much to not have come up with some kind of intergalactic missile to destroy them by the time they
Mm.
get here. Also, why us? Are we the only civilization out there, or
Do you know? Can I
are we
say
just the
something?
daftest? Yeah,
I don't even think when they said where do you think we'll be in the next 400 years with regards to war capabilities, I don't even
yeah.
think they're talking about the world. I think they're just talking about America.
Fair
I
enough,
think
man.
in the next 400 years, everyone's going to have like a nanofiber nuclear gun in
Suits,
their pockets. Yeah, because it's their
which is
right to bear arms.
funny because what if they come in 400 years? And this is interesting because all the talk that everyone ever always says is that we're going to destroy ourselves. What if the
Hmm.
Santi just waited 400 years and we just flattened everything with nuclear weapons and it came to an empty planet? Why do they believe in us that we'll still be standing after 400 years?
I think they want a healthy planet.
Oh, okay, so they don't want us to destroy with nukes.
Yeah, they don't want us
Yeah, yeah,
to kill it
they want to meet
ourselves.
somewhere clean. I see.
Exactly,
I see.
exactly.
So wait,
But yeah,
just not to be too much of a Nigerian man, but too much of a
mhm.
Libra. So just because I lie, I deserve to die? Like just because of a
um,
little one, two harmless white lie, I've now become your enemy.
yeah. So I think they obviously like the concept of lying and just misrepresenting the truth in any capacity was
Yeah.
just so foreign to them. And
Okay,
when,
so I
yeah,
think they
when,
see it as a weakness that because they can't do it, they see it as an obvious way we can get to them. And because they can't
yes,
do it, they can't detect it.
yes, yes, exactly. And I think Mike Evans, having been talking to them for as long as he has, I imagine he has,
Hmm.
him not picking that up makes him an idiot.
Oh, that guy is there was a scene and I wrote it down in my notes and I was like, God damn, man, this nigga is doing tricks on it. I have never seen a dick rider of this extent
Oh no.
in all my
The guy is
years of watching
a glizzy gobbler.
TV. He said, my lord, big, big man like you, man.
Sounding like a
He said,
Nigerian
my
lawyer,
lord.
man. Insane.
Oh God, he died
Insane.
clutching their notebooks. But yeah, I was going to say, like, what do you feel about the friendship dynamics, the different friends? How do you feel about their friendship, and the little relationships between them? And who do you see as yourself in that friendship group?
So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Stop the Santi. The job's a joke, you're broke. The Santi's on the way. It's like
Oh,
you're always your missile probe is stuck in second gear. And when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or for 100 years, I'll be
I'll
scared
be
of you.
you when you go my way.
Oh my
Oh God, that should be
god.
the theme song for this show. How
For
many
this
cold opens
episode,
are we gonna have?
you can just cut it up for content. But no, what was I saying? Yeah, I like the friendship dynamic. I think they're really good at keeping each other accountable. They're not really yes men. Like even Will is probably characterized as the quote unquote, and just for lack of a better word, like the easiest member of the group, or like the most laid back, the most
Yeah,
gentle. And he's not a yes man. They're very good at disagreeing with each other because they're all extremely intelligent. And there's just a balance. There's no overbearing personality. I think the closest thing to an overbearing personality was probably Jack. Was that his name, Jack?
yeah, Jack.
Yeah. And Jack, even then, he could like they can all take as much as they can give, you know,
Yeah,
and
and I like
it
that they
just
all
it
had
felt
their
very healthy.
roles. It felt
Yeah, they
real.
all
Like
had
their
their
friendship
roles.
group
Yeah.
felt real. Jack was
Yeah.
him, and you could see people that you've interacted with before in that friendship group.
Hmm.
So it felt real,
It
and
felt
they had
it
been a
felt tested by time.
exactly. That's a
Hmm.
good way to put it.
Like
There's been
they
a
all like
bar.
Jack, but they all like Jack, but they prefer him in small doses, and everyone is nice to Will.
Exactly.
And Saul needs a bit of pushing every now and then just to like make him stand up or wake up. You know, Saul needs
Yeah.
prompting. He's like ChatGPT.
There
Yeah,
was there was one thing that I wish the show did more, and I alluded to it in the preview. And you know, I think pretty early on in episode one or episode two, it lets you know that it's a story about aliens. Like the
yeah,
mystery of what's happening to these scientists doesn't last very long. But I
yeah.
wish the show extended that a little more before letting us know that it was aliens coming.
Mm,
But I don't know. It depends on the material, obviously. If the material isn't there for them to extend it and the aliens show up pretty quickly, then so be it.
yeah.
But I feel like it would have been good. They could have shown us Ye sending the message and us not understanding who
Hmm.
she was talking to and what that has
Hmm.
to do with these
Yeah.
guys committing
And
suicide.
yeah, it's funny. I can't remember clearly, but I think in the book it's clearly just broken up.
Okay,
So I don't think it's a constant back and forth. I'll have to check again. I think it's just
like back and forth
um
between times.
yeah, I think it's like the 60s and then we're back well the present. I'll check again. But I feel like that would have been a very tasking way of running
Telling the
the show
story.
because yeah, it would just be an entire new cast after like mid season. Not even mid
Yeah.
season, maybe like 2 episodes of like backstory and then a bunch of new white people, and that would have been disoriented. So I think that they're telling it the best way possible. You remember what I
Oh
said
God,
about D&D just being really good at like adapting?
adaptations. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that.
Mm.
What was it? I saw something from them that made me wonder how their duo works because apparently one of them read the books and told the other one we have to do this, and I'm just wondering, like, do they have to always work together? Why? How do these duos come together? How do they come to be where they just we lost the Safdie brothers recently. I think
They're not
even the
doing
Coen
anymore.
brothers of what the Safdie brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they split up recently to do their own thing. I mean, you can't
Oh,
split up
okay.
from your brother, but like they're both doing their
Yeah,
own thing.
I know. Even with the coins, I'm sure they'll do like the odd solo project every now and then, but they always pull up when they have to. Same thing with the Russos. Same thing with the talented pair that made Madame Web and Gods of Egypt and whatever else the fuck those guys wrote together.
Oh my god, what's a
Those guys are
discography? But
disaster artists, bro. They did Morbius. They did
that's
Morbius
you
as
know
well.
that is my dream job. Everyone always asks like, "What is your dream job?" That is my dream job. That is my dream
Just
job. They
failing
get money
forward
every year.
constantly.
To, yeah, exactly. To do what they want, and it doesn't even have to make
Mm.
sense. I
I
realize
think
that we've been doing this pod on the
yeah,
assumption that people listen to the preview episode. So we haven't even talked about some of the few things you mentioned in the preview episode, like the Game of
true.
Thrones alumnus. And something I realized that I missed on first watch. Did we already mentioned Sam as Jack, Sam Otali,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you know,
Cunningham,
Davos Seaworth, yeah, Liam Cunningham, Percy, what's his name?
Jonathan
Jonathan
Price.
Price, yeah, as Mike Evans and Ramin Djawadi on the chords for the music.
Hmm.
But did you
Hmm.
recognize any other Game of Thrones alumnus in this show? Because there's one that I missed as well, and I'm so sure a lot of people will miss him.
Is it Tatiana?
No, it's a
Let
hip.
me think. Is it him? Let me. Is he a major character?
In Game of Thrones, yes. In this, no.
Huh. Let me think. Um. Oh no. Wait. This is so much fun because I'm like it's probably just right. Okay, yo, tell me.
So, the Pope in one of the simulations is Varys.
Oh
And
my God. Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I had to go look back and I had to watch, and I was like, oh crap, it's him.
Did he lose weight?
I don't know. His face looks not as round. I think it was the bald head in Game of Thrones that
Yeah,
made him look
yeah.
bigger than he was. But yeah, that's
Huh.
one more Game of Thrones guy in this for you
His
guys.
holiness.
Yes,
His
and
holiness.
it
That's
is run
interesting.
by D&D. They call
Hmm.
them Infamous now. I wonder why that is, but showrunners for Game of Thrones for 8 seasons, and they're doing their thing. This is a story that's already finished, and everyone who's read the books is actually excited for D&D to finish the story
Yeah,
because it's already here. They don't.
I think the interesting part is it's more than like they're like I think they're like two or three trilogies.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
crap!
so
That's a big.
there's the main trilogy and there's the let me sorry, I'm trying to check. Yeah, there's the main trilogy and then there's a follow-up trilogy. So
Hmm. I saw that.
there's a
I
lot
saw that one of the
there's a lot
books
of
is called.
material.
I
Hmm.
saw that one of the books is called The Dark Forest, which is interesting because this show calls up or brings up one of those conspiracy. I wouldn't even call it a conspiracy theory. One of those thought experiments that people have, and one of them is called the
Hmm.
Dark Forest, where there's a theory that the entire universe is quiet because broadcasting your location could lead you to what is currently happening in the three body problem,
Mm.
where some random
Mm-mm-mm.
stronger alien race
That
goes
makes sense. That
towards
makes a
you
lot of sense.
to colonize
That's
you.
the
So
second
everyone
book.
is just
That's the
quiet.
second book, though, right?
Dark Forest? I think so. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, one
Yeah,
of
it's the
them.
second book in the trilogy. It's called The Dark Forest. And the last one is
Okay,
called
so
Death's End.
do you think we as humans on Earth, or let's even say, okay, let's remove we, do we think the USA, Russia, China, and the UK, and a couple other powerful countries, do you think
Mm-hmm.
they have the ability to colonize another planet today, like right now?
I don't think, unless the planet is empty.
Unless the planet is empty, okay. Do you
Yeah,
think
if
if
it's
the
just like, if,
possibility do you think if the possibility existed, a new space race would happen?
100%, especially if the other planets are resource heavy.
Bro, imagine they found a planet that's what could be on the planet? Like, oh, the obvious one I was in Don't Look Up, which is like metals and minerals. But I'm trying to think what could be on a planet that we would go there to siphon. And
It would
um,
100% be metals, minerals, anything like that's a source of energy, 100%
yeah,
fuel. Um, it would also be land. Like I think you would have to go very far from our solar system to find another, because essentially the Earth is literally a function of time and I said of space and gravity, right? We only this planet is only habitable because of its current distance from the sun, the fact that it has
yeah,
a moon to manage, you know, the sea and
tides and
everything,
everything. Yeah,
tides and
yeah.
all of that. So they would have to find another coincidence like the Earth. You get what I'm saying? And for
Hmm.
that to exist, it would have to be in a different solar system because there's already this current solar system.
I
And
see.
yeah, you remember what you said about a millimeter away?
Yeah,
If there was anything like Earth if there was anything else like Earth in our solar system, we would all be dead. It can only be
true.
one probably at this point, you know.
Yeah,
So they would have to go somewhere. It would just be so far away, you know.
I see.
And
I see.
if you like speculative fiction, you should play Mass Effect Andromeda because it deals with something like that.
I have heard about Mass Effect. Guys, you already here first. Go and play Mass Effect
Just,
if you want
I mean,
to.
the other ones are good, but the other ones are more linear. Andromeda is like a full on MM. It's not MM. It's not online.
Oh,
It's just a full on RPG, and it's basically
interesting.
about a massive expedition based on people from the Milky Way going into like a different solar system to explore. You know, and they find a bunch of viable planets actually. It's a really good game.
Who who would you choose as your nickname if you got into that virtual reality game that they were playing? Because they all chose
Um,
nice scientists.
yeah, I guess it would have to be like um. mm, wait, the scientist Chin chose, was that like was that an Asian scientist?
Who did she choose again? She chose
Copper.
Copernicus, right? Yeah, Copernicus is
Yeah.
the guy who did the sun revolves around the earth or earth revolves around the sun. I think he disproved
Oh,
because at the time everyone thought the sun revolved around the earth, and he was the first one to say actually the entire solar system revolves around the
okay.
sun. And he was hated and booed for it. So just goes to show
Hmm.
you, man. Science is flexible. Science is not all the way
Yeah.
true. So is math. So
I would go Tesla,
Tesla, okay, that's a sick one.
Nikolai
I will
Tesla.
go.
Yeah.
Let me know. Just because you said Tesla, I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say. Let me just
Well,
Google
Edison.
black scientist. How come we don't know
um,
any black scientists, TMT? That's
I
terrible.
know a lot. I know bare black scientists. There's
Name one.
George Carver Washington.
Okay.
The,
Okay.
there's
Is that the guy that invented? Wait, I know him. Is that guy that invented peanut
pe-
butter?
peanut butter. Yeah. Oh my
Okay.
God.
Fair
There's
enough. And then there's the guy who invented Jack Daniels, was it?
was that a black guy?
Yeah, I think it was a black guy, and then they took the recipe from him or something like that.
Oh
But
my
oh
God.
yeah, there's the lady from Hidden Figures. Can't remember her name.
Oh, is it
Uh Ruth, Ruth something. I don't know. Oh, I don't know
oh
if I'm. I don't know. I can't remember her name. Let me Google Hidden Figures right now.
Alice Bell?
Is that a spell?
Alice Bell is like
Oh yeah, and then
the
there's that guy who's always Catherine Goble Johnson. That was the main one.
oh
Dorothy Vaughan and Mary Jackson. Interesting. So I guess
I
that's
won't lie,
everyone's
I might
homework in this
just
pod.
I might pick Burna Boy, man. Or
Okay,
Speed Darlington. So Speed Darlington is crazy. I'll go with Speed Darlington. Yeah.
nice. I like that one. I'll pick Terry G.
Yeah, so if you're listening to the episode, put in the comments what your scientist name would be,
Yeah,
and let us know.
or Lamide.
Yeah,
So, did you have any problems with the season? We've been raving and gushing about it for almost an hour now, but do you have any problems with this season?
yeah. I mean, I think the pace was a bit weird at certain moments. It felt a bit
Okay.
laggy. And I know it
Mm-hmm.
was to build atmosphere around certain decisions or moments, but I wish they hurried it up every now and then. Um, you know, but yeah, pacing
Yeah.
beyond the pacing, I think I loved it. I think I loved it. I loved it. I don't
Loved it.
think
Wait,
I, I would say I don't think it's a binge. I don't think it's a show that should be binged. I think it's a show that should be weekly.
it should be enjoyed
Hmm. It should be enjoyed, discussed
slowly.
on TL, and then like
Yeah.
Shogun kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. I see your point about the pacing because sometimes it felt like things got going and then they slowed down
Hmm.
again. And you're just like,
Yep.
if you want to get going at once and just
Mm-hmm.
go. But yeah, I definitely see your point about pacing. And then the other thing I said already about I wish the show kept the thriller, the murder mystery
Yeah.
thriller bits a bit longer. And what else? Well, I like where they left us off. We're hopeful for the future. Everything's still scary, but we're hopeful. And we've
Hey,
got some
that's what
tricks
you
up
have
our
in the end.
sleeve. That guy is so. I was laughing throughout that scene because I just kept thinking to myself, how arrogant must you be to think that in 400 years there will not be anyone like you to run a program?
Honestly,
They said wake me up
honestly.
every 100 years or something like that, and I was like, what
I
if
think he
a
said
war
every
breaks
week.
out while you're
Once,
asleep?
didn't he say every week or something?
What? No, no, he said
I,
every year. It was like a week every year. You wake up for a
a
week every
week
year or
every
something.
year. That makes so much more sense. Because I was doing the math and I was just like, hmm, hmm. Yeah, okay, yeah, a
Yeah,
week
he
every
will definitely
year.
die.
Yeah. It's funny because he's an
But I
old
feel
man
like
as well.
I feel like that's a cheat code. Like the freezing should not work that way. You shouldn't be able to wake
Hmm.
up for so many weeks. You can't cheat like that.
Hmm. So the guy will now wake up and be like, what have you people been doing for the past year? Also, there's no way like
This
going in
this
suspended
floor is not
animation.
sparkly.
Yeah, it's not sparkling.
It's not sparkly. Who scrubs this floor?
Oh my
Oh
god!
my
And
god.
there's no way like going in suspended animation for like hundreds of years and coming back once every year for a week won't lead to some kind of
Exactly.
crazy ass cancer,
You're going to need a week to even get up to speed with everything.
bruh, bruh. But anyhow, Sha, I wish him the best. I really want them to win, and I can't wait to see where the further seasons go. I would not be reading the other books
I
because I
want
want to be
them to win
surprised.
just because I want to see how they win. That's my thing.
Mm.
I want them to win because I want to see how they, and I want to believe that although the writer said the story was because of what his family went through in
Hmm.
communist China, and he is basically the Ye Wenjie in real life. I want to believe that at the end of the books, he found some hope for humanity and gave us, things to look forward to.
Hey, I like that too. That's a great sentiment. Yeah, love that.
All right, I feel like that's a good place to wrap up.
Let's wrap it up. Wrap it
TMT,
up then.
thank you very much for coming.
Yeah,
Appreciate you,
man.
and
It's been a
look
pleasure.
forward to having you back again. The Submaroch live show, please tell the people. Are the tickets sold
11th
out,
of
or are there still one or
11th of
two?
April. I think we added like maybe 10 more tickets. So if you can get, good luck, and if you can't, it might be sold out. No, actually by this time it will be sold. Cause I know this comes out in like what, a week, or when does this come out?
This comes out in like 3 days, man. Like
Oh, in 2 days.
this is
Okay,
gonna,
so
yeah.
it might be sold out, but if you're lucky, it might not be. I wish you the best of luck.
All right, you guys, you hear that? Go watch the Submaroch show live. Follow TMT socials at TMT's Clutch. All right, peace out, and Santi, we are coming for you. Though we may joke, we don't run no joke. We are coming for you.
That is the end of the weekend, man. Bye, guys.
Bye.